family. Why do I teach? I teach because of those that came before me. It's your man, Mr. Virgil, from the classroom to your reality. And I just wanted to share with you some insight from my heart. People ask me all the time, what made you become a teacher? I never knew that I would be a teacher, right? And I actually graduated from college thinking that I would go to the corporate world. And I ended up going to the corporate world. I did, but they had me making 150 cold calls per day. And I realized on the third day that I was miserable going to work already. So I got up out of there and I ended up becoming a teacher, right? And so through my journey, my 7 years of teaching, I realized that I became a teacher, and the impact that I make every day showing up is because of those who came before me. For example, Mr. McQueen. Mr. McQueen was my middle school social studies teacher. A lot of us remember him and had him, and we had the utmost respect for Mr. McQueen because he had the utmost respect for us. He didn't allow no bull jive though. He didn't take no bull jive. He showed up to work every day. He was serious about his business. He was serious about showing us as students a bigger picture. He was serious about teaching us that, hey, going to high school, you're not gonna be holding your hands anymore, and that, you're gonna have to step up for yourself and focus on the bigger picture and not be so distracted by the little things that happen, right? So Mr. McQueen was my dude. And actually I gave a speech on August the 1st, 2018 in Hattiesburg, Mississippi school district, where there were a bunch of educators who wanted to hear from me. And I told them my story about Mr. McQueen and how he inspired me to become the best teacher that I could be. And then of course, another person, Brother Coach Reggie, who was a pillar in the Wilson community. He was a gang detective for a very long time in Wilson, and he was the one who was like a dad to so many of us. He was like a bonus dad to those of us that already had amazing fathers. And for Coach Reggie, he would give. He would take us under his wing, and he would never ask for anything in return. And I love Coach Reggie. It's ironic because the day that I found out Coach Reggie passed away, which was January 7th of last year, I actually was diagnosed with COVID. Coach Reggie passed away because of his complications with COVID. And so for 8 days straight, I laid in a bed sick. It was the worst sickness that I had ever faced in my life. Now, mind you, as a child, I stayed in and out of the hospital. I was sick, growing up, right? But this was the worst sickness that I ever faced. So God knocked me down because he wanted me to sit in that. He said, Alec, you getting ready to take the torch. You got to remember your why every day. You got to show up to work and impact those who came before you, and kind of, stay ahead of the game. Do what those who came before you did for you. And one day I remember going to basketball practice when Coach Reggie was the coach. He and Lawrence, his son, and myself, we were sitting in the car. Coach Reggie asked me, he said, Alec, you had anything to eat, buddy? I said, man, all I had was a watermelon slice. That was all I had at the time, just a piece of watermelon. Coach Reggie told Lawrence to reach in that bag and to give me a sandwich. He gave me a sandwich, and somehow that memory stuck with me. And that was over 15 years ago. I mean, that was more than 15 years ago because I was a young teenager. I was like 12 at the time. And so the fact that Coach Reggie did that was only a metaphor or a small indicator of the person that Coach Reggie was to so many people. And his family, who I still keep in contact with, his beautiful kids. He had 4 beautiful kids and a wife who was surviving him, and they sent me a picture of Riley going to her first day of school in kindergarten. And so, yes, he left behind a beautiful family, but thank God he left behind a strong legacy. And so that's my why. That's why I teach. That's why I show up every day. I don't do it for the adults. I don't do it for the awards and the ribbons and the monies. I do it because of those who came before me, and it's only right that I give back and make sacrifices when I need to. All right, it's your man Alec, from the classroom to your reality, just sharing with you some insight from my heart. And I hope that this impacts you in some way. All right, let's go.